Hi guys, and welcome to this fourth video of SoapUi tutorial. In this video we are going to see how we can add assertions to our SoapUi project and how we can make use of those assertions. So in case you haven't watched my previous videos, then I will suggest you to watch them first and then come to this video, so that will help you in better understanding of SoapUi tool. So let's move on to SoapUi tool and let's see how we can work with the assertions. So this is the project that we had created in last video. So in this project, we had created the test suite. Under that test suite, we had created this test case with the name addition, and under that test case, we had created these two test steps. So guys, before adding assertions, let's try to understand what assertion mean. So assertion in a nutshell means validating your response. For example, here we are adding two numbers, so we wanted to verify whether the response that we are receiving is correct or not. So in this case, if we are adding 3 and 4, so we want to check whether the response is 7 or not. So when you have hundreds of test cases, so in that case you cannot verify each and every response manually. So that's why we make use of assertions. So you just add assertion, so SoapUI will check that particular response for you, and it will tell you whether that particular response is as per your expectations or not. If it is if it's not as per your expectations, it will show that particular test step as red, and that will give you the idea on whether the test step is successful or not. So let's add a few assertions and let's see how it works. So I'll delete this already existing assertions so that we can see from scratch how we can add the different assertions. So to add any assertion, you have to click on this assertion tab, and you can need to click on this plus symbol here, so that will give you this particular interface where it will show you the different kind of assertion that are available with your SoapUI tool. So recently used tab shows the recently used assertion. So we'll move to the next one, which is nothing but the property contains. So the first one is the contains assertion. So this essentially searches the existence of a particular string token in your response. So if we try to see it, try to apply it on our current response, so in that case I'll click on add, and I'll put the content as 7 here and click on OK. So as you see, it is successfully validated. So as you see in our case, what this operation is doing is this is adding two numbers. So integer a and integer b, and it is returning the sum of two numbers. So I'll just change the numbers here. So 300. So in this case, response is 744, but still this is showing as valid. The reason is because we have added the assertion to check whether the response contains 7 or not. That's why, though the response is not as per the expectation, still our our assertion is successfully passed, because the response contains that particular string. If it would have been something different, for example 8, in this case this could have failed. So in this way we can make use of this particular assertion. So next, let's see the next one. So as you have contains, in the similar way you also have not contains, where you check whether that particular response does not contain a particular response. For example, you want to see that response does not contain the word error, so in that case you can add this not contains assertion, and you can give it this condition that response should not contain the error word. Then we also have the XPath match, where it uses an XPath expression to select a particular content from a target property. So this is a quite useful assertion that you will see in most of your SoapUI project, because as you just now seen that content is not a very good approach to verify whether a response contains a particular string or a particular value or not. So that's why we make use of this XPath match. So I'll add it, and it expects you to provide XPath expression. So I have already uh, created it, so we'll make a use of it. So you have to declare namespace first, and then you have to give that particular element whose value you need to check. So in that case, let's say Let's say if I put only 7, the way we had put it in case of contents field, and if I save it, it will show me that it is not matching, and it will also give the reason that it is expecting 7 but actually 744. So that is why XPath is of so much in use, because it gives you the correct matching of the expectations. So when I'll put 44 here, now it will show that it has matched. I'll just remove this. Okay, let's see the next one. So next one is XQuery match, and in this case it uses this XQuery expression to select from a particular response that you have received. So XQuery is basically used in case you have big response payloads and you have to extract multiple values from that particular payload, and you wanted to see the result in the way you provide the XPath for that. For example, I have created one XQuery expression. Let's see it, and it will be easier for us to understand. So in this case, I wanted to make sure that I get this result in this particular format. So what I'm doing is that in this XQuery expression, it is fetching out this add result value, and it is putting it in my result element. So when I'll save it, it will show as yellow because this XQuery is perfectly matching with our expectations. So next set is compliance status and standards, where you can put different HTTP validations against your response. For example, in this invalid HTTP status code, you can provide the HTTP status code which you are not expecting to receive. For example, you can say that 500 HTTP status code is invalid for my success test cases. Similarly, you can also provide valid HTTP status code. You can say that I should always receive 200 response only and nothing else. Similarly, you can also verify whether the received message is a valid SOAP message, and if you are having the negative test step, then you can also put that it is a SOAP fault message. Similarly, you can also provide the schema compliance. This is also quite useful assertion, that when you add the schema compliance, it will add you to provide that WSDL. And what it will do is that whatever response that you are getting, it will validate that response against the WSDL, and it will tell you whether it is in compliance with WSDL or not. So let's check the next one. So we also have some web security assertions available by SoapUi. So in case you are using this WS standards, you can make use of them. We can also provide the Groovy script assertions, and so I won't go much detail into that because it is a separate topic, and I'll create a video separately on this topic. But for the timing, you can just note it down that we can write a Groovy script and you can put it here. So next section is about the SLA section, and here you can provide the time in which you are expecting the response back. For example, if you say that my response SLA is of 10 seconds, so in that case SoapUI will verify, or it will validate whether you got the response within 10 seconds or not. And if you do not get within 10 seconds, it will highlight it to you. Next section is the JMS section, and if you are using the JMS endpoint, in that case you have the two assertions available. One is of JMS status and one is of JMS timeout. So JDBC is grayed out here because it's available only with the Pro version. Similarly, you also have the assertion for security information exposure. So in this way, these are the different set of assertions that are available in SoapUI tool, and you can make use of them. And when you have your regression suite running, where you have hundreds or 500 test cases, so in that case, if you put the correct assertions on your test tape, then it can definitely reduce work by a lot. I mean, I mean, in this case, if you add particular visual compliance, if you add particular SOAP response, if you add for assertion for particular HTTP status code, so if you add proper assertion, then it can reduce your job, and it can SoapUI can validate a response on your behalf. And at the same time, it will, in case if any response is not as per your expectation, then SoapUI will also show you why it has failed. For example, let's I'll remove this. So in case of our positive assertions, let's put let's change this value to 74 and save it. So now when you run uh, this particular test case, so I'll run this test case. So you can see that it has shown you that XPath comparison failed for this particular path. It was expecting 74 and actual was 7744. So when you run a particular test case, then you can run all the test step and you can verify whether different conditions are getting executed or different functional requirements are getting satisfied or not. So guys, this is it for this video. So if you have any suggestions, you can put it in the comment box, and you can also subscribe to our channel to get the updates for the next video. And so thank you.